Okay, previously we had a discussion on the embedded firmware means regarding the hardware pack. Okay, so today we are going to start with this embedded firmware development languages. Right? So many of the languages we will be aware of assembly language, low level language, right? So these are all specific to the target processor or a controller specific language. There are one more set of languages, right? A target processor and a controller independent language, such as C, C++, Java, etc., commonly known as a high level language. Then we have one more set which we call it as a combination of assembly and high level language. Okay. So these are the different languages or the types of languages which are available, which should be finally dumped onto a processor. Okay. A target processor which we are going to observe. So we will be discussing about these things today. Okay. Assembly language based development. Okay. So assembly language is a human readable notation of machine language. Machine language is a processor understandable language. So machine language is binary representation and it consists of zeros and ones. Okay. And it is been identified these zeros and ones with the help of a mnemonics. Okay. And these mnemonics will program or will be used to design or to write a program to interface between a processor and the programmer. Assembly language and machine language are processor control dependent, and an assembly program written for one processor controller family will not work with the others. So if you write program for ARM 7, that will be not implemented for ARM 9. Okay, vice versa, and it can be there. Higher version can use lower version, but lower version cannot be used for the higher version. That is the thing which we have. Assembly language program is a task of writing processor-specific machine code in a mnemonic form, converting the mnemonic into an actual processor instruction, which is the machine language, and associated data using the assembler. So you might be knowing about a compiler, you might be knowing about a assembler, you might be knowing about a linker, you might be knowing about a driver circuit, right? You might be knowing about a source code, there will be a simulator, there will be a interface board which I am going to connect, then finally you are going to observe the output. So these are the different sections present when you are implementing program onto a processor. Okay, so these things only we are about to discuss. Okay, assembly language program was the most common type of programming adopted in the beginning of an software revolution. Even today, also almost all low-level system-related programming is carried out using the assembly language. In particular, assembly language is often used to in writing the low-level interaction between the operating system and the hardware, for instance, the device drivers. So we have a block diagram which will give a clear picture what we have to do, how we have to process it, how finally our program will be dumped onto a target device. So that is a task which you have to know. Right. A general format of an assembly language instruction is an opcode followed by the operand. The opcode tells the processor controller what to do, and the operand provides the data and information required to perform the action specified by the opcode. So he has given a simple example, move a comma has 30. So here move a is a opcode and has 30 is the operand. The same instruction when written in a machine language will look like. So as I said that move a is given some value, okay, which is this value, the binary value, and has 30 is represented by this value. Okay, so move A is represented because yesterday I was saying some move register to register, move register to memory, move memory to register, move memory to memory, and all this move value register, move memory, and as was having some code word. So you can observe this. This is a high level language, okay, assembler language, and this is a low level language which the processor will be able to identify. Okay, so we are writing this move a comma hash 30, and the device will convert this high level language into a low level language, or assembly level language into a low level language. Okay, this is one simple example of representing or converting your instruction into a binary value. Okay, each layer of an assembly language label is split into four fields. So this is a label, this is the opcode, these are the operand, and these are the comments. Okay, this should be the normal tendency of writing any assembly language. So you should label what it is going to do. You should write the instruction, that is nothing but your opcode. You should write the operand, like your data, like your register, and all those things. And finally, there should be written a comment. And this is a syntax you need to follow to write an assembly language program. This should be the tendency. And obviously, this label and this comments are optional. Okay. And which is mandatory to execute the program? Your opcode and the operand. So if you don't write these two, then definitely your program will not execute. If you don't write comments, it is going to execute. If you don't write a label, then also it is going to execute. So only you can observe that a label is an optional identifier used extensively in programs to reduce the reliance on programmers for remembering where data or code is located. Okay. Example, you can see a delay program they have given. So labeling it as a delay colon. So obviously label when you are writing, it should start with a name label followed by a colon. Okay. Then opcode, so instruction followed by register followed by data, whatever you have to give. So you can write. So this is a opcode and this is a operand. And when I'm writing a comment, so I should start with a semicolon. Okay. Load register R naught with 1255. So that is a comment line, right? So this comment line is also an optional part. So this is how you have to write. So when you write all these things for the user or for the next person, it will be very easy to know what program you have written. Or for me only, if I am writing multiple program, so I will be like a bit confused. So if I see this label, if I see this comment, I will be able to know what I am trying to implement. So assembly language program written in assembly code is saved as, so we are going to save it as .asm. Okay, .asm, which is the assembly file, or and .src, which is a source file, or also we call it as a .s file. Okay, source file. Any text editor like a notepad or a word pad from Microsoft or the text editor provided by an integrated development tool can be used for writing an assembly instruction. So you can write your program in the normal Word document or the normal notepad. Only thing what you have to do is that you need to save it as a source file, or you need to save it as a .asm file. Otherwise, what happens when you are writing a program in a Word document? By default, it will be saved it as a .word, okay, or .pdf or notepad. So in that way, it will going to be saved. But you want to execute that program, then you need to save it as .asm file. Sir, if I write program in Word document, if I run that program, whether it will be executing the program? No. Why it is not executing program? Because there is no editor in the Microsoft Word. Okay. You require editor also, you require a compiler also. So those things are not available in the Word document. But you can write program in this. There is no problem. Similar to C, the other high-level languages, we can have multiple source file called as modules in assembly level program. So each module is represented by a .asm or .source file. So yesterday also we were observing in the program. So multiple header files it was having. .h file, .asm file, .hdoi file, right? So source file, .c file, right? .hex file. So there were the different things. Right? This approach is known as a modular programming. Modular programming is employed when the program is too complex or 2-bit. In modular programming, the entire code is divided into sub-module and each module is a reusable. Modular programming are usually easy to code, debug and alter. That is why whenever I am writing a program, so I am going to write it as a function and I am going to call so that I can use those function programs in some other hardware also. Okay, that is the biggest advantage which I have. If I write all program in one single code, then what happens? If I want to alter, that also it is difficult. If there is a problem to identify, then also it is difficult. And that code size will be very huge. Considering all these factors, we have come up with this block diagram, right? What is this block diagram? So you can observe that it is a assembly language to machine learning conversion process. So your high level program will be converted into a low level program. So how you are going to do? So you are having this source file 1. So it is .asm file or .source file. It is of module 1. Then it is module here module 1, module 2. It is not that your syllabus module 1 and module 2. Here module 1 is a sub program 1, module 2 is a sub program 2. Like module 1 program can be a keypad, module 2 program can be a display program, then there will be a assembler 1, assembler code. So your program will be assembled for the object file, and this object file everything will be linked to the library file. And right, finally you are having so source file 1, modular assembler, object file 1, it all goes and sit into this library files. And from this library file, you are going to create a linker file on a locator file. From this locator or linker file, you are going to get an absolute object file. And this absolute object file will be generating your hex file, right? Object to file hex converter. Then finally, you are going to get a machine code, which is the hex file. So in the software on the execution of the hardware program also, we have seen that we are writing program in the keel version, we are saving the program and we are building the program. And once it is building, all your supporting file and X file it will be created. And that X file is used for the dumping onto a target device. So that is a process which we need to follow, right? Source file to object file translation. So translation of assembly code to a machine code is performed by a assembler. The assembler for different target machines are different. So A51 microassembler from Keel Software is a popular assembler for the 8051 family microcontroller. So this software is been generating, or you have this software, right? Keel version. So Keel version, it is going to use this macro assembler. So which will convert. There are various steps involved in the conversion of a program written in assembly language to a corresponding binary file or a machine file are illustrated in the figure. So each source module is written in assembly and this code is as a dot source or dot ASM. Each file can be assembled separately to examine the syntax error and the incorrect assembly code. So before generating the Xcode, I am building. And when I am building, it is going to check if any errors are there or any warnings are there. So why we have to observe these things? Because if any program having any errors, like syntax error, logical error, right? So it will be identified and it will be intimated to you so that you need to update that one or you need to edit that one. Why? Because hardware will not tell where is the problem. Your X file it will generate when everything it is correct. If you have written anything wrong, then there is no generation of the X file. That is the thing which you have to observe. So only if there is any errors, If you write that program, it will be not generating. Okay. So on successful assembling of each source file, an object file is created with an extension .obj. So who will create this OBJ? So once I write program and when I go for building the project, so it will create this object file. The object file does not contain any absolute address of where the generated code needs to be placed. It can be placed at any code memory and it is responsibility of the linker locator to assign the absolute address of this module. So I am not going to do anything. The software, the tool itself, it will identify this object file and it will set and it will tell this is the program. Each module can share variables and subroutine form using keyword public and external, okay, are used as while accessing the shared variable. Library file creation. So here we are observing different types of file like source file, like ASM file, like object file. Now it is the library file. So library file, if I wanted to generate for, I wanted to do multiplication, addition, division. I wanted to do standard input and output. So for that one, you require this library file, or usually we call it as a header file. Okay, library file are especially formatted, ordered program collection of object module that may be used by the linker at a later time. Library files are generated with the extension .lib. When the linker processes a library, only those objects, modules in the library files are to be created for the program which are going to be used. So this is one example here given. So how we are going to generate all these things if you ask? It is only the software will do. Now no need for us to do anything. And if I open that folder, all the files, object files and everything, it will be displayed. So I'll just show you one example of that one. Okay. So I am displaying my screen now. So I'll go to this library part. I'll go to this programs part. I'll go to part A. The X file will be not there. So part B I will take. I'll take program of this DC motor. So here you can see all the different types of files. Okay, PLG file, TRE file, micro vision project file, right, GO file, S file, source file, compiler file, object file, O file is calling it as. Okay, so D file, I think X file, see this is a X file, right? So if I open this X file, right, I've just tried to open that one. So I will take notepad. See, you can see it is of only address. So we will not understand what program it is. Okay. So these are the things which will be present. And that is what he is trying to tell us. Library, creation file and other stuff. Linker and locator. Your linker and locator, everything it will be there in this folder only. That is why you observe that in this project DC motor, all documents files have been present. There is no separate. So if I want to execute, I have to use this one. If I just click on this microvision project, so I can observe that all the files I will be getting in this folder only. So one folder I'm not having. See your .c file, .h file, right? Header files, source file, everything you can observe in one folder. So that is the thing which has been present here. Okay. So linker and locator, it is identifying the things and maintaining, finding the values. Object to hex file. So that is what we are trying to do. So this is a final stage in the conversion of the assembly program to machine understandable language, which is your machine code. Hex file is the representation of the machine code and the hex file is dumped into the core memory of the processor controller. The hex file representation varies depending on the target processor controller make. Hex file are ASCII files that contains a hexadecimal representation of the target application. Hex file is created from the final absolute object file use the object to hex file. So that is what we call it as a build. Okay. target to target device which you are going to tell. So from Keel software is an example of a object to X file conversion. Efficient core memory and right. So when why we have to do these things, because my Word document I cannot upload onto a device. Why? Because it will not understand. One more thing is that the file size will be very huge. So I'll just show that program what is the how much size it is going to take also. I'll just take the program size. Sorry. See here, my X file, it is of 3 KB, and my project, it is 15 KB, right? So it's easy for me to dump this 3 KB data. That is what is trying to highlight here in this slide. Okay, efficient core memory and data memory usage, memory optimization, and it is giving a high performance. This leads to everything we have just discussed a number of times. Low level hardware access, okay, and code reverse engineering. This is performed by the hackers to reveal the technology behind the property products. So low level hardware access means, so once it is been built, so again you no need to change that one. So again, if I want to change, again I need to do from the initial stage. That is the meaning what is trying to tell. High development time. So assembly language is much harder to program than the high level languages. The developers must pay attention to more details and must have thorough knowledge of the architecture, memory organization, and register details of the target processor. Learning the inner details of the processor or its assembly language is consuming and delay impact part. Also, more lines of assembly code are required for performing in the operation of the C. Developer dependency, right? So developer dependency is means I wanted to update, I wanted to change, right? I'm moving, example is taken here is the moving data from one memory location to the accumulator can be achieved through different approaches, but which is the best approach, right? So these are all the drawbacks which you can observe here. Unlike high level language, there is no common written rule for developing. See, what we learn programs is that we try to byheart the code. Okay, so we will follow one standard procedure to write the program. So that is one wrong thing which we follow. So you should understand what are the options it is given and make use of the best thing and you should write. So that is what we expect. But what we do in the lab and everything is that lab program, whatever is it, we will read that one and come and execute. We will not try for the new thing. That is a common thing which you can find. Upgrading an assembly program or modifying it in a later stage is also very difficult. So if any problem is there, I should do from the beginning. That is the biggest advantage which we have. Non-portable. Okay. So target application and everything it is with respect to the hardware. So I cannot going to change that one. Rewriting and those things are not present. That is also one of the drawback of these one. High level language based development. So in C program, we are going to update programs. We have to update those things and that can be easily done. So any high level language like C, C++ with a supported cross compiler for a target processor can be used for the embedded firmware development. The most commonly used high level language for embedded firm is the C. Don't think it is for the C language. Here we are speaking with respect to the embedded C, not general C. Okay. That embedded C again it is nothing but the C program. Nowadays cross compilers for C++ is also emerging. Okay. high-level language-based development, right? The various steps involved in this high-level language-based system is the firmware development is same as that of ISO. In assembly language-based development, it is carried out by an assembler. So all these steps, whatever it is given now, is explained using the figure. So again, you observe the same program which has been given. Same figure only it is there. Now what updation is we have done is that we have gone for the model cross compiler. So anyone can write any program in any language. We use cross compiler to update the data. That is the thing which you observe now. So that is why what we observe now programs is that they will write and see what we will take that information and convert and we will build in this way. So one program they will write in 1 second. Okay. Sorry for the delay. Right. So we update the now linker was there, assembler was there. Now it has been changed with a cross compiler. So one program they will write in VSGM, I can write in .v file. I am writing .asm file, I am writing in .c. So in this you can observe. So for writing hardware program, interfacing program, we are writing in C. We are not writing in assembly program because that is very difficult to identify or to list out. Okay, so that is why we write program in .c. So that is why we follow those other procedure to execute the program in the hardware using this flash magic. Okay. The program written in any high-level language is saved with the corresponding language string. And text editor like Notepad is used. Most of the high-level will support this module written. The source file corresponding to each module is also represented by this file extension. Translation of high-level source code to executable code is done by this cross compiler. Each high-level language should be have a cross compiler for converting a high-level source code into a target processor machine code. Conversion of each module source code to corresponding object is performed by the cross compiler. Rest of the steps involved in the conversion of high-level language is same as that of what we have executed. Reduce development time. So when we are writing programs using this cross compiler, so what happens is that now hardware interface C program is suitable, so we write program in that way, and we use cross compiler to execute that program. Now I want to write in .asm file, it will take a lot more time. That is the one thing which has been there. Now nobody writes program. Generally speaking, nobody will write. Now in the lab also, you are just copying the thing and pasting and you are executing. But you will face problem during your examination. That is the thing. Right? There you don't have any copy paste kind of a thing. Still what people will do is that they will open a notepad, they will write all the things, they will copy that one and they will paste and they will write. That also they can do. That is also all. Right? So by doing this, what happens? Reduce the development time. That is one of the advantages of this high level. Developer independency. So somebody has written some code, I am using that one and I am modifying and I am utilizing that one. So that is the developer independency which we can have. Portability. So one program it is there, I will copy this one, take one more the hardware component, dump onto that one. So easily I can execute the program. That is what we are trying to tell. You bring your laptop with the X file, connect the USB port, dump on the code, check the output. As simple as that. So it is portable also. But poor optimization, these are the limitation of the high level languages. You cannot optimize the code. That is one of the thing. Right. So if I want to optimize this one, it will take a lot more time. Not suitable for low level hardware. High investment cost. These are the limitation present in the thing. One more part which we have is the mixed language or mixed assembly and a high level language. So both languages we can combine and we can execute the program. So assembly program C, assembly language .asm and C program we can combine. That is the information which he has given. Passing parameter, right? Passing routine, right? Passing a function, calling a function, using that function to execute, right? So these are the things. So now we have taken one example. Consider an example of Keel C51 cross compiler for 8051 controller. So write program in C, use source directive, compile C file, rename C file from source file to .a1, A51 file, edit the A file, and it is going to be working as a file. So these are the simple steps of converting your source file into assembly file as an example which you are given. So if I open the Google and type cross compiler from C program to VHDL, so you are going to get right. Convert my C program to VHDL file. Convert my C file to .asm file. You will get a compiler file which will convert and which will you. But majorly you will find errors because the source file, what intention they have written and what is expected as it is, you cannot convert into a hardware program. That is one task, but you should carefully edit that one. Okay. So here's an example which is given. Pragma source unsigned character return argument plus one. This is a C program. Now this program I will convert into a assembly program. So mixing code here include, then most often I think here we have given. So lcall function. So these are the different register used for that purpose. So here you can see move A with 13H program end. So this is an inline program which they have used for this C program which is trying to execute as an example which is given here. So next comes is your programming in embedded C. Now students know this is the concept which has been trending and which has been uh, because now when once you complete your engineering, this embedded C complete thorough knowledge is not there for you people because that is not included. They have just given an overview. So once you go out, when you have not done any campus selection or nothing is happened, you have not joined for any MS and all those stuff. So you will be doing some course. So which course you are going to do? There is an option of VLSI course, there is an option of networking course, and there is an option of this learning embedded C. If you want to be in EC domain, if you don't want to be in a EC domain, then you can learn Java, then you can learn Python, then you can learn testing, then you can learn web designing and all other stuff. But core domain, if you wanted to do, then you have to go for this programming in C, embedded C, which we need to execute. Okay. So whenever a conventional C language and its extension are used for programming embedded system, it is referred to as embedded C programming. Programming in embedded C is quite different from the conventional desktop application. Desktop computers contain working memory in the range of megabytes and storage memory in the form of gigabytes. For a desktop application developer, you require ROM and RAM. Right? Almost all embedded systems are limited in both storage and working memory resources. Embedded application development should be aware of this fact and should develop application in the best possible way which optimizes the code memory. In other words, the hands-on on the embedded application developer are always tied up using this memory concept. So this is the comparison between your C and embedded C. So what is C? C is a well-structured, well-defined and standardized general purpose language with extensive bit manipulation support. What about embedded C? Embedded C is considered as a subset of the conventional C language. C offers a combination of a feature of high-level language and assembly level and helps in hardware access programming. Embedded C supports all C instructions and incorporates a few target processor. The conventional C language allows as ANSI, American Standard Interpretation Standard thing, and it incorporates various library files for different operating. The standard ANSI C library implementation is always stated to the target device. A platform OS specific application known as a compiler is used to the conversion of the programs written in C. Hence, this is a platform specific development. These are all related with the C. But what about embedded C? The implementation of target program controller as well as Z are supporting a particular file which is embedded C language. A software program called the cross compiler is used for the conversion of the written in embedded target processor to the specific instruction or machine language type. So this embedded C and what is C? C is written for writing your program, but that program you cannot directly dump onto a hardware. But embedded C, it supports all the parameter instruction as it is provided in C. But extra thing what it can do is that it can be easily converted into an assembly language, which is very beneficial. That is the advantage which you find in this embedded C. Then we have a difference between a compiler and a cross compiler. So compiler, which is used for a C language, so you have to write code in the C only. Cross compiler is the one which will write in any program and you compile with a different compiler. Okay. So writing in C, convert into other part, it will execute and it will run. That is the difference you can find. A compiler is a software tool that converts a source code written in a high level language on the top of a particular thing. And cross compiler you use a development team, right? So this compiler, cross compiler is the final part of this module 4. Okay. Here the operating system, the compiler program and the application make use of source code running. The source code is converted into a target device. The development is platform based thing. Compilers are generally termed as a native compiler. Cross compiler, here we are using the embedded C, right? Embedded system development is a typical example for a cross compiler because you can observe that in the software also we are having different thing. I'll just show to you. So this is the Keel version which I'm using, right? So when I'm going for this target device, right, I'm building this one target. So we have different types of thing. Okay. So I will just add files to this one. We have observed, right? We have seen NXP different types of thing. So all sort of compilers it will support. That is the meaning what I wanted to try and specific here. So from this module, so what are the things you have learned is the how an embedded system, how we need to approach. What are the hardware specification? Which software should be enabled? How we are going to write a program? How we are going to execute? So all these stuff we can observe in this module 4. Okay, and which is present. I'll just show you the course outcome. Right. Apply the knowledge in embedded system design concept and programming module and introduce the to the modern embedded system is nothing but your embedded system design concept, characteristics, hardware specification, embedded firmware and development, excluding C and all those stuff. 4.1 to 4.2, chapter 7.2, and chapter 9.1 to 9.2 of the text. Okay, this is a text value which is Shibu KB. So this is all about your module 4. So module 4 is completed today, and from tomorrow onwards we'll be discussing about the RTOS and IDE embedded system design, which is with respect to the course outcome 5. So tomorrow onwards we will start. And today or tomorrow I will upload the assignment for module 4, which you need to write. And to deadline for that one will be 20th. 1 week time I will give to submit your module 4 assignment. Okay. So I will just download the attendance sheet. So we will meet in the next session. Anything you wanted to ask, anything you wanted to share?